Hey, what is up guys? It is your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Matamaman's Phantom Assassin. Recently, in his last 3 pro matches, he's proceeded to go 15-0, 14-0, and 11-0. How do you never die in 3 games against the best players in the world? I guess we'll try to figure that out here today. And you know what else we should try to figure out? Why you don't have a gameleap sub yet. But in all reality, if you're stuck in your current bracket, and you don't know what's going on, you're lost, and these YouTube videos aren't doing enough for you, you should take the next step. Give it a shot, right? Get a month sub, go see what you can do, win a couple ranked games, you'll be like, wow, Speed, I'm glad I got a sub today. So click the link down below, and I hope to see you guys there. Alright, but before we get into it, smash the like button and subscribe. Alright, so let's start off with his starting item build that I think is a really big key in why he's able to sustain his lanes. I think a lot of people have the wrong idea with Phantom Assassin in general, especially they don't really kind of consider what their lane is going to be. In this case, he's against the Naga. He's against the Wyvern. They are doing a bit of an aggro lane. They try to switch up the lanes, get the matchups they want. I think they wanted the Beastmaster against the Darkseer, because Beastmaster really doesn't like playing against Naga. You know, Naga just has too much armor to the point where Beastmaster just does very, very little to her. Now, in terms of items, you can see he goes 3 branches, Tangos, Stick, and Quelling. Now, why Stick? Because in the past, I've flamed a lot of people for buying Stick first, but it's actually become quite meta. The first thing I'd like to say is the other regen items have gotten hard nerfed. Mangoes are in a meh spot. Ring of Regen got nerfed quite hard. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with that. And those were kind of the 2 main items. There was also, what is that garbage item called that they nerfed to the ground? Yeah, Ring of Taras. Oh, didn't they remove it? Yeah. Yeah, Ring of Taras. That was a thing for a bit. All those items are gone or nerfed. And so, Stick has kind of slowly crept its way up to being a viable sustain item. Now, if we think about PA as a hero, what should we think about? It's a hero that just simply doesn't do that much in the lane. Yeah, there's some lanes when you have an Undying that maybe you can, put some pressure. And when you get levels, you can put some pressure. For instance, here he has a Tusk. PA tag team can definitely do quite a bit of damage. Even here, he's actually assisting his Tusk by harassing the Wyvern. And I love that play. Just that is a sign of a professional player. You might be saying, oh, come on, really? Going on a Wyvern? I can go on a Wyvern. Yeah, you can go on a Wyvern, but do you go on the Wyvern? And most importantly, do you go on the Wyvern when your Tusk is in position to go on the Wyvern, right? Because synergy, I talk about this all the time, the 2 main things that hold people back, that prevent them from being the best laners in the world, the 2 main things that I notice is A, lack of pulling, and B, synergy. This has nothing to do with pulling, but it has everything to do with synergy. He's just paying attention to his Tusk. He's literally willing to give up creeps to harass the Wyvern. That's how valuable he sees it as, because now, by doing this, even though he might miss a bit of XP or a CS or 2, it is going to allow the Tusk to contest pulls more easily, maybe get a kill onto the Wyvern later on, and so on. And funny enough, remember guys, you don't gotta be perfect to be a good Dota player. After, 2 waves, he only has 1 CS, now 2, so don't worry. Everybody makes mistakes, but keep your CS high, you know the motto. Now, next up he buys an Orb of Corrosion, and this is only because he clearly thinks he has kill threatened. Let's say he's laning against the Mars Coddle lane. What do you guys think he should buy? Mars Coddle, right? What do you think you should buy? What should be the first item that he buys? Probably a Ring of Health, right? Because if you don't buy a Ring of Health, you're just going to run out of HP. You literally won't be able to lane. Your hero won't be able to sustain. However, against the Naga doesn't harass you, Wyvern barely harasses you, and so you can go a much greedier item build. In fact, with a Tusk, you even have some kill potential later on into the lane when you scale. And we'll kind of see that come into play here. He picks up this Orb of Corrosion, not Oof. I guess it's technically an Oof. And he's going to look to potentially go for kills. So make sure you do this, right? Only when you have kill threat and won't get pressured do you rush an item like this. It's the same thing for Ricky. You guys see what I'm saying? It's a big learning tip for a lot of you carry players, People, when they play Ricky, they're rushing treads and wraith bands when they can't do any damage, when they can't even harass the opponent. And it can be okay to rotate, but if you plan on staying in your lane and you don't buy a Ring of Health, you're going to have a very hard time. The next thing that he does that I really love, this is, it's one of those things where people kind of just get lazy or they're too focused on their own game. Carry players are very selfish, right? And in this clip here, he's going to go on Zibe's Winter Wyvern. I don't think most people would make this play, right? It's oh, he barely got vision of him. He's just sapping 1 creep. Who cares? But Matamaman has a different mentality. He goes on him. And he just understands the value of Wyvern having levels. Now, he doesn't overcommit. There's a tier 1 tower nearby. You don't want to put yourself in any place of danger. And you also don't want to miss any CS under tower if needed. But what's the value in that? He just knows that if Wyvern is low, he's much easier to be ganked. Now, he can heal himself and does heal himself, but the idea here is that when you force out resources and you take advantage of a item or level lead, you're just being a good player 9 times out of 10, because you can. Like, why would you not farm and pressure at the same time? The next thing he does, guys, this play is, I'm not gonna lie, bizarre. That is all I'll call it. It's bizarre, but let's talk about why he thinks it's a good idea. So, fight's going on bottom. He's bought fighting items, right? He's also had a great start, so he can fight. Now, most of the time, though, I tell you guys, in a lot of videos, you know, carry videos are like, you want to stay in the enemy off lane, right? Avoid this quote-unquote dead lane. However, he just sees that this fight is in such a place that he can show up. His teammates are dropping somewhat low, not too low, but somewhat low. Supreme is here, that is the enemy's mid laner, who's going to be putting pressure on this bottom lane. And now that Supreme is here, Matamaman knows that, okay, if the mid is showed up, the mid wants to get kills. He's going to commit for kills. And so when he TPs in here, he knows that the fight's going to last. And that's exactly what happens. The fight's going to last. And yeah, what do you know? Supreme overcommits a little bit. No. Very funny scenario. He goes for the TP, but he gets healed. And they pick up a massive kill. He kills a mid laner. Think about how valuable that is, right? How many carry players would make that play? And it's primarily based upon the idea that that kill happened near the tower. And when you see, you know, a hero like a mid laner show up, you know the enemy team is going to commit for the kill because they don't want to waste their mid laner's time. The next thing he's able to do is read how the map moves. He's able to look at his teammates, the opponents, and make a very clear decision on whether or not he's getting ganked. Now here, let's take a look at the map and see. So a scan comes out, right? They scan the jungle, they want to see if someone's rotating. He sees the Air Spirit bottom, briefly, because of the ward. He sees the Darkseer as well, and he sees his team top. Now, the enemy team probably knows that most of Secret is top, right? And because of this, Matamaman is very clearly the gank target. Very, very clearly the gank target, and they can kill him. It's not the easiest kill in the world. Frankly, Prophet doesn't add too much. His ulti's alright. Naga doesn't add anything, but they do have shells. Right? They have an Earth Spirit with a shell. So he backs up. He even pops a scan close to himself here, catches a hero there, and gets out. Now, I'm not saying every single time you think you're getting ganked, you have to scan, or, you know, you're even gonna have scan to begin with. But the thing is, he knows, because his team is top, that they're probably bottom. I know this is simple. It's like, oh my, like Speed, all you tell us is simple stuff. But that's what Dota is. Getting good at the game is being able to look at this simple play and make every single simple play, every single fundamental over and over and over again without fail. That's typically what makes a pro. It's not like the flashy, like, oh, Invoker, Wombo Combo, Rampage. And because of this, he shifts to mid. Mid is obviously a place where his team can protect him. They're pretty close to that area, so he's totally safe. After that, he'll shift to the triangle. You know, at this point in the game, you know, as much as you want to take lane creeps on PA, he's a pretty high level with decent items, so he'll be able to jungle this up no problem. Right, even goes for a stack here. Beautifully done. Gets that stack off. And he's going to close down on here a 14-minute Battle Fury, but you have to keep in mind, that's with Wand, Shreds, and an Orb of Corrosion, which just shows how efficient he's actually been this game and how good his rotations have been as well. The next thing I'd like to say is, you know, playing around how the game is going. He's really good at this. I mean, Matamaman might be the best in the world at this. OG is like, kind of like, I'm not going to say the creator, founder of this idea, but like you see this with OG, where Ana would like be very close to his team in most games. Unless he's playing like Spectre Appeal, then he would split a lot more, but if his team is having a good game, he would be in the vicinity, because as a carry player, a lot of carry players, they default to saying, okay, I'm a carry, I shouldn't show up to fights, I should farm. And while this is like, you know, it's a good place to start with carry, if your team is having a good game, more often than not, if you show up late to fights, you're gonna get cleanup kills, right? So as long as it doesn't completely destroy your farming pattern, you can show up. For instance here, Roshan. I know it's not a fight, but like, it's the same idea. It's not like he just like was sitting by Roshan waiting for his team to come here. Yeah, he was cleaning through the jungle, waiting for things to go through. Oh, a Darkseer shows up, picks off Darkseer, and can continue to get Roshan. You know, a lot of players have been like, I have Battle Fury, I don't want to Rosh. Well, that's why Secret is Secret. They know when they're strong. And you might be saying, oh, but in my pubs, I can't synergize, they don't listen to me. First of all, that's not even true. Like, I've really come to the point where like, it's like 10% of people that don't listen at all. I feel like the large majority of people listen, as long as you're friendly and haven't tilted them beforehand. In this game, yeah, all he doesn't need even Zeus and Odie to Rosh. It's good for them to protect, but it makes this good rotation where his team has the ability to Rosh, so he farms towards it. That's like super advanced stuff, honestly. Like, I bet he did it on purpose, but my god, like that takes a lot of foresight. And now with Aegis, his game plan is very clear. It's just, you know, you push in the waves very aggressively, because if you get gone on, your team can very often counter-initiate. He's also so tanky at this point. He is actually so tanky. yeah, it's just going to show up to some fights, go on the first person he sees, right? Cleans up era, picks up a haste, goes on Darkseer. Really nothing too complex here. It's not like this is what makes him a good carry player. The fight execution, it is, you know, he clicks his buttons how he has to. But overall, it's the early game stuff. You see what I'm saying, guys? Like, when you have a good early game, when you learn how to play the lane properly and help your Tusk at the right time and understand that Wyvern doesn't pressure you, can get away with an Uv in that lane because of the specific matchup, but then you go back for the Ring of Health and you TP bottom when the mid is coming over because you know that they'll commit when their mid comes. Like, that's the stuff. Like, being able to do that consistently. See what I'm saying? Like, it sounds simple in practice sometimes, but it's just not. You know, being able to do these things and adapt it per game. Alright, now what I want to quickly show you guys is I want to show you how he, you know, changes his items per game depending on the game. And that's what's, like, I really mean that. That's what's so cool. And when people are like, oh my god, I need this item to win the game and I need that item. Yeah, item builds matter. And you know, especially the little things matter when it comes to the item builds. But the hardest part is doing it right. A lot of people think they know what they're doing, but honestly, they end up just griefing themselves by going really weird item builds. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, it's not a good Deso game on PA, so I'm not going to go Deso. But like, more often than not, that's just not really the case. But let's take a quick look at the 3 builds he goes. So like this game, for instance, this is the game we were looking at. He goes Battle Fury, BKB, Basher, Satanic. Doesn't even finish the Abyssal. Now, why is this good? Well, BKB this game, he doesn't want to get stuck in some VAC combo and die. The enemy team, if they sleep and they VAC combo him, they'll die because he's weak to magical damage, right? He doesn't want to get caught in like 3 shells. So that's the first thing. It's a very good BKB game. That's the only way they kill him. Like, these 2 heroes cannot touch him. He only dies if he doesn't have BKB. And trust me, they can kill him if they song combo. And then he goes Basher. I think it's just because Basher's good on PA, honestly. It's like, oh, I have BKB, I can go Basher. And he doesn't go Deso, which is honestly a bit weird. I do feel like it's an okay Deso game. The enemy team does have relatively high armor heroes, which makes Deso a bit worse. But one thing I will say is, against Wyvern, it's pretty nice to have Basher. Just because you can bash him before he gets his E off to kill people. And they also have a good amount of mobility as well. And finally, Satanic. The enemy team can't burst him once he gets enough items. So once he has like strength from Basher and strength from BKB and strength from Treads and strength from Satanic, even HP from Corrosion if it's still in his inventory, this enemy team can't burst him anymore. They can kill him mid-game. They can kill him like around here, you know what I mean, when he picks up the BKB. But later into the game, like the 30-minute mark, he gets a very early Satanic because he's crushing. But it's a good game for Satanic because they can't burst him. Next up, he goes Deso this game. Well, he goes Battle Fury Deso. And reason being here, Lycan's a low armor hero. You can one-shot Lion, one-shot Grim. The enemy team does have quite a bit of magical damage, like, I'll be real. So I bet he played this game very much around his team. His team does have a lot of initiators. Like, he definitely doesn't have to go in first. They have a lot of stuns, which he can play around. And so I think when you have a lot of stuns you can play around, you can go a bit more greedy on your build. That's definitely an option as well. I mean, to be fair, this game he has like a decent amount of stuns, but not nearly as much, right? Not nearly as much as this game, right? Shaker, Tiny, Pango, the volume of stuns is much higher, and he can play around pickoffs. So I think the Deso makes more sense. And as I said, they have a lot more low armor heroes in general. And finally, last but not least, you see a game where he goes Ags. Ags' second item. Very bizarre. I watched this game with a student. So what the Ags does is it refreshes your cooldowns if you get a kill. It refreshes your Blur, your Phantom Strike, and Dagger if you get a kill. But the main thing that I noticed is it's instant cast Blur and it purges you. So you have to really ask yourself, are there things I want to purge this game? And I would say absolutely. You can purge Witch's Blade from the Monkey. You can purge Sticky Napalm. That's huge. You can purge E-Blade when you get E-Bladed. And you can't actually purge Shadow Demon Poison anymore. That they changed that. But you can purge Jakiro's stuff as well. You can purge the lingering effect from his ulti, his E, his Q. It's a great purge game, so the Ags makes a lot of sense. And yeah, that's like some of the thought process behind Matamaman and his PA. That's going to be all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned quite a bit about the carry role and how to refine your early game and just kind of like be a lot more flawless like Matamaman is. And if you want to see me do a late game version of this, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'm out. Peace. But yeah, that's going to be about all, folks. Remember, click the link down below and subscribe to the gameleap website where we have thousands of videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.